What do you understand by equality, Sophie? What does it mean to you?
Freedom.
Can you be more... Is it equality of opportunity? Is it equal pay across the board? Is it something more than that?
I think equality's better for everyone. I think,
okay.
you know, and I'm really delighted, you know, I love my job because it's an optimistic and a hopeful job, which is about creating more choices for people. I'm interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
She danced around that question. She did not answer it. I don't think she knows what equality means.
Aha, well, so you're going to have choices and equality of outcome. What if people choose different things, which is what they've been doing in Scandinavia? So the Scandinavian countries have moved more towards gender equality than any other countries, and the personality differences in Scandinavia have increased rather than decreased, and the proportion of women who are choosing STEM fields has decreased rather than increased. So as cultures become more gender neutral, the number of women who choose STEM fields decreases.
What do you mean by STEM fields?
So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you let men and women make their choices, what actually happens is that they specialize in different situations, and you don't get equality of outcome.
Could they not have been programmed to have those views from the moment we raise them and give boys Lego and construction?
No, because what happens is that as countries get more egalitarian, which means there's less programming of that sort, the differences get larger, not smaller. And the scientific data on that is clear, and most of it was generated by people who have a left-leaning bias, so you can't blame it on conservative scientists. It was a shock to everyone to find that out.
Sophie,
I think the difference between Jordan and me is that we look at evidence and we lean towards different theories. So Jordan's theory is very much evolutionary, you know, that there are inherent differences in men and women. Mine is very much more social role theory, if you like, and that men and women are taking on different roles due to the expectations that society puts on them. And it's...
Well, those expectations come from the fact of centuries of men and women being on this earth, and we just put ourselves in different categories for what works best for the family and what works best for the state or the country or the whatever you fill in the blank, the land, the rule of land that we're at the time. So Native Americans, they had their own rules. Hunter-gatherers, there's a reason for that. You never heard about equality and all this other nonsense until men have made the world so comfortable that women think that they don't need us. Now, since men have done all the hard work, women want to come in and say, well, since y'all have done all the hard work, we want half of the pie too. We want the same outcome that y'all get, but you're not going to have the same outcome because, one, you don't do the same things that we do. You might have the same job title, but you're not doing the same work that we do. Men are more likely to travel for work, more likely to die on the job, more likely to take more hazardous pay, to work holidays, to come in early, to work late. Women are not more likely to do these things. So when we talk about the pay gap, because I'm pretty sure it's going to come up, when we talk about the pay gap, you have to take all of that into consideration. And then a lot of people don't even know how they determine the pay gap. They'll take all the jobs that the men work, all the jobs that the women work, and then find the median. But they only want equal when it's something that benefits them. For all that other stuff, men dying in war, men doing the most dangerous jobs, selective service to potentially go out to a war and die, they don't want equal on that.
It's interesting that Jordan frequently cites Scandinavian countries where they've made more, like there's nowhere in the world that women are equal, but Scandinavia has made the most progress towards shared parenting, etc.
Yep.
That said, it's not done yet. There's nowhere in the world where this is done yet.
But it's having the opposite effect that the gender equality types predicted. Opposite, not the same. And it isn't a theory, it's actually data driven by tens of thousands of surveys and the best scientific literature on the topic. It's not a theory, and I didn't come about it because of my political perspective. I looked at the data. What it showed was that as countries become more egalitarian, the differences between men and women grow. They don't shrink.
So what I'm interested in is data and analysis as well.
Ma'am, you're not interested in the data and the facts because he's telling you the data and the facts, but you just want to keep talking to find a way to rebuttal this man, but you're not saying anything.
Facts.
This woman is the definition of hearing but not listening at all.
Interested in is data and analysis as well, and I'm particularly interested in the ones presented, such as the ones by the University of Southern California, which discovered that change towards gender equality is actually being slowed by beliefs that are legitimizing social inequalities on the basis of sex. And I'm also interested, I mean, like Jordan, I look at the data and I look at the studies, and I'm really also very much interested in studies like the analysis that was done by the American Psychological Society, which looked at 45 analysis of whether there's sex difference over 20 years. And its conclusion was that men and women are basically alike in terms of personality, in terms...
Oh, hold on. I'm about to back this up because I jumped in and cut her off. She's going over data for 20 years. But what about the thousands of years that men and women have been on this earth? What about those thousands of years where men had to do all of this crazy work in order to get us here where we are right now? How is it that y'all will just forget about all of this? I didn't know my mic was turned around. How is it that y'all just forget about all of this and just go to some study that was made, it seems like yesterday? You might as well say yesterday, compared to 20 years, compared to the thousands of years that we've been doing this. Come on, man. Let me back this up because I did cut her off.
And its conclusion was that men and women are basically alike in terms of personality, in terms of cognitive ability, in terms of leadership. But what it did find was that media depictions of men and women as fundamentally different perpetuate misconceptions, as does
What about when there was
science.
no
God, so it's my
media?
fault.
So, no, well, you know, you're leaving soon. It's okay.
Men and women actually are more the same than they are different. But the issue is that small differences at the population level can turn into very large differences at the extreme. So, for example, men and women are broadly similar with regards to aggression, although men tilt a little bit more towards aggression. So that if you picked a random person out of the population, male and female, and you guessed that the male was more aggressive, you'd be right 60% of the time. But if you take the 1 in 100 most aggressive people, they're all male. And that's why the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that? Just out of curiosity. What about bricklayers? They're 99% male. And we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female.
Yeah.
Are we going to equalize that? And men work longer hours. They work more dangerous jobs. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons. And that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender. It's a very simplistic analysis, and trying to address
I was just going to say, Sophie,
That's when women's whole argument for equality falls apart. They don't want that same equality when it comes to certain jobs. They don't want to do labor-intensive work. And you would think it's more labor-intensive blue-collar jobs, but these women are also not going into the science or engineering fields as well, where they got to build, machinery. A lot of software jobs, women are not running to those jobs as well.
can you come back on that?
What I'm trying to equalise is opportunity and choice.
Fine, let's equalize choice.
You agree on that.
But we won't get equal outcome that way.
And I think that what happens then, nobody knows.
No, you're not going to have.
We do know. We know what's happened in Scandinavia.
But it's not fully got there yet.
No, but it's going in the opposite direction that everyone predicted, and strongly.
I think one of the things I loved about Jordan's book, which I speed read last night, so forgive me, Jordan, I've not read every line. But one of my favourite rules in Jordan's book is Rule 9, which says, assume the person you are listening to might know something you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in a country where men outnumber women by 2 to 1 in Parliament, in local government, where women's voices are not equally represented in media, where our education systems still are teaching boys and girls ideas of pink and blue. Yep. What I'm trying to do is work with thousands of optimistic, hopeful people for change.
Okay. No, but she wants, this is what majority of women don't understand. What y'all are asking for is basically a handout. You're saying, I understand that men do the hard work and damn near all the work to keep the countries and everything alive. But even though y'all do all of the work, we still want you to include us in these topics. So they want to take the seat that another man should have just for them so they can feel included. Even though they didn't do the work to get there, it's very rare that they'll do the work to have these positions. This is why DEI was such a bad idea. You put all these people in positions that they did not belong in. because of like gender, race, ethnicity, whatever it is. There will never be equality of outcome, and that is what a lot of, they say they want equal opportunity, but what they really want is equality of outcome. We'll give you the opportunity, but there's no way you can compete with a man, so you're going to fail majority of the time. And then this is when they say, well, that is not fair because there's so many men here. Yeah, because they could do what was needed to be done for the standard in order to get this job, this position, fill in the blank.
Forgive me, I want to take one call, if you'll forgive me, because time is really short, and I owe it to the viewers to hear their views on this.
We've got Salim calling from Manchester.
Salim, good morning.
Hi, Matthew. How you doing?
I'm very well. I'm loving it. I'm a pig in heaven today. What do we think about equality? Will it ever happen, Salim?
I was going to say I thought it was going to happen, but after listening to Jordan, he's swayed my opinion.
Oh, no. Why did you think it was going to happen?
Because I think we're going to become more cognitive creatures, and jobs are going to be more about mental skills.
Technology.
But then I've been visited schools, and I work in STEM. I'm a software developer, and the number of women doing software development hasn't increased. I would have thought they would have increased more. But I went into secondary school to do GCSE IT stuff, and there's very, very few girls doing IT. And I was thinking, IT is the future, and the schools are pushing for more girls to go into IT. But there's only I visited about 8 schools.
Can I just, sorry, Salim, can I just no, because I'm 30 seconds. Sophie's idea, actually, representations in the media could be affecting such choices.
No,
Geeks, we see.
No. The reason why the representation in the media doesn't change anything is because before there was media, we still have thousands of years of just experience and data that we can look on that shows that men and women will put themselves in the best positions to make something work. Before there was television, before there were newspapers, before any type of media, men and women did this. So how do you explain it? It's not the media's fault. It's just our biology. It's just how we're wired.
It's got bespectacled blokes with bad hair on computers. That's what tech means, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right.
Jordan Peterson, I don't even know why you were going this goofy little show. These people just don't understand basic biology. And they're the same ones to say they want to be seen in the same regard as men. That they want to have the same opportunities that men have, even though they know that they can't do it. They just want to have the opportunity to make them feel good. It's all about feelings at the end of the day. Guys, that's it for today's video. This thing has triggered me. If you want another good one, click this one on the right or the left, and I will see you on the next one. Hit that hype button and that like.